So, all right, everybody, thank you for coming and joining us today. And I am super excited. I brought in my friends Carrie and Roger Ilgelski, and they went through Plant U earlier this year. And I just wanted to bring them back and interview them and talk to them about their successes because they have really had a lot of success. So I just wanted to bring them back in and talk about it. The first thing I wanted to ask you, and again, welcome you guys. What led you to the whole food plant-based lifestyle?
So I was spending a lot of time with my dad a few years ago, who died he was in his 90s, but he had prostate cancer, he had diabetes, prostate cancer eventually spread to his bones. He needed a lot of care. He was diabetes, he was non-compliant, he wasn't doing what he's supposed to do, lots of medication and things, and I just didn't, I felt like that I didn't want to end up that way. I didn't want to end up being a burden to Carrie, my family. And so I was kind of on a quest. Some of it was spiritual, some of it was physical, just trying to figure out what I needed to do. I had seen my blood pressure inching up over the years of physicals. I had seen my cholesterol inching up. And I knew that, I mean, I look like my dad, I'm shaped like my dad. I knew I would end up like that if I didn't make some changes. And so coincidentally, during that period of time, a few years ago, I was, my regular doctor had gone into urgent care practice and dropped her client base. So I needed to find a new doctor. And so when I was starting to search through my pro healthcare website for the various doctors out there, I came upon a doctor who I didn't know, but his video looked appealing. He looked interesting. So I made an appointment. I went to see him. I did my blood work. He said my cholesterol was high. I was borderline for medication. My blood pressure was high. I was borderline for medication. He said, you could go on medication if you want to. I said, well, I don't really want to. And he said, well, then we're done. He said, this was an hour appointment, but we only used 10 minutes. He said, is there anything else I can do for you? And I said, well, jokingly, I said, well, you can help me lose weight. And he goes, well, I can do that. And I said, Ron, how would you do that? Thinking that he was going to suggest some medication or something. And he started to ask me questions about how many vegetables I ate and how many fruit servings a day. And actually we ended up spending, I think, 90 minutes together. Probably screwed up his day because we talked for a long time. And two of the things he mentioned to me were two videos. One was called Forks Over Knives. Another one was called Game Changers. And I was intrigued enough, even though I was a meat eater at the time, and had somebody said to me 10 years ago, if you'll feel better if you give up meat, I would have said, no way, sorry, move on, next question. But because of my dad's experience, I was at least interested in learning more. So I came home, I said, explain what happened to my wife, and we watched the videos. And they're pretty convincing when you see these physicians, heart doctors and such, talking about these kinds of things, the athletes in Game Changers video, from Tennessee Titans to Arnold Schwarzenegger and others, power lifters, which I had done some weightlifting in my life. It was intriguing. And so I said, well, what do we got to lose? Let's try this for a couple of months. But I said, I can't just eat salads. I've got to have something more. So we need recipe. I mean, we can't start like right now and just eat salads for 2 days while we find recipe. I got to have something that's substantial. So that's really where it started. So we started, and 1 week later, I went to donate blood, and they checked my blood, which I'm a regular blood donor. We went to check. They checked my blood pressure, and it was like 117/72, and I was like, that can't be. I was in the 140s, 150s, and I said, check it again. They checked it again, and it was even lower. Wow. So then I went on the table to donate, and they put me on a table. There was a lady next to me on the next table. She was already going, and they put me on the table, and they started drawing blood, and we finished at the same time, which is unusual for me because I usually they would have to stop halfway through my blood draw and reposition the needle because I stopped flowing because my blood was so thick. And so anyway, we finished at the same time. The nurse verified, the phlebotomist said, yeah, you went really fast. I came home, I checked on my blood pressure machine at home. I still was low. This is 1 week after we switched our diet. I went into the history of the blood pressure machine, which I hadn't looked at before, and found that every reading over the preceding 3 years of owning that blood pressure machine, every reading was either orange or red, which is bad, except for the months of January. There were 3 years. For the months of January, every reading was green. And it dawned on me that every January, our church does a 21-day Daniel fast where you're just eating fruits and vegetables. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's the only time that my blood pressure. So anyway, blood pressure had been great. 6 months later, I went back to visit my doctor. He did a cholesterol check. My cholesterol was normal. And so that's kind of how we came to this. So.
Wow. No medications for either one of those.
No.
So wait.
No, we're still both medication free. I'm 65 and take nothing.
And what do you mind sharing what your cholesterol was?
It was always like 235, 240. It was inching up every year. So it was getting closer, right around 240, I think. And after I can't remember, that was 3 years ago. I can't remember. I'm actually due for a physical with my doctor, but it was below 200, 190 or something. I don't remember exactly.
Okay. Awesome.
Maybe even lower.
Okay, cool. So that's really awesome. Yep, no medications. Okay. Carrie, chime in now.
And for me, yeah, I was excited to watch when he came home and told about this. I was like, oh, well, what does that mean? I never heard of it, didn't know anything. And so, like I said, we watched the videos, was really intriguing. And the thing that really intrigued me was 2 of the doctors in the Forks Over Knives video are well into their 80s, still practicing medicine, still, very
Vibrant.
Yeah, thank you. And they weren't selling anything. And I thought, because so often people will explain something and then they're selling something. And I thought, well, that's interesting. And they simply wanted to get the word out to help more people because their practices were so limiting. And so that really gave credence to me that this could be something. And so I think it was about a week later that I made my first meal.
Okay.
And I didn't know how to start. I knew nothing. And after that, we just continued on. So
Awesome. Yay. Okay. So then kind of how would you describe your transition and what kinds of things did you kind of learn early on there in the process?
Well, I learned early on that as a American diet person, standard American diet, I didn't really know much about different foods or preparing foods, or, we had a chicken and a baked potato and maybe a vegetable or something. And that's kind of how we based our meals. And so that part of it, I think, was one of the most eye-opening things that I enjoyed the learning part of, like, wow, there's all this stuff available to eat. Some people look at it as it's really limiting. I looked at it as, wow, there's all this horizon I've never ever known. So that was really fun to me.
Yes. Awesome. That's exactly how I felt too. Going. Yep. Cool. Okay. Anything do you want to add to that, Roger? The process. Carrie is primarily the chef in your house, right? So
yes.
You're kind of at her mercy.
I am.
But you do give her feedback and recipe ideas. I think you said that kind of now.
Yeah.
But
He does do some cooking, but I do more, yeah, probably more of the
I can
searching out things.
I can do an
and
awesome, I do a lot of chopping,
experimenting.
vegetable chopping for stir fries and things.
Yeah.
I do the dishes every night. But Carrie does a lot of the daily planning and things, what we're having. I recently discovered jasmine rice. Oh my
Okay.
goodness, it's so good. So I found that for me, if I have potatoes, rice, or pasta, and we usually do like a brown rice pasta or something, Carrie tries to stay gluten free, and so consequently I do too. But I found that if I can do one of those three, there must be like comfort foods, just the starches. I feel more fulfilled
Mhm.
after eating. And recently, and we were always brown rice people, but recently we found jasmine rice for whatever. I don't know how we stumbled across it, but it's just so good. And so you can make stir fry with jasmine rice on my happy clam.
Yeah. All right. Good. 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 Okay. So, and then oh, in the process, you guys took my little Plant You course. And so tell me how that was helpful and kind of you were definitely I would say you had a good start, but tell me a little bit how that might have been hopefully helpful for you.
You want me to talk about how we found it?
Yeah.
So how we found it was, so we started this plant eating, whole food plant-based eating, what, 3 years ago? 2.5 years ago?
2018,
So
almost 4 years.
last, about a year and a half ago, I kind of fell off the wagon a little bit. It was summer, Memorial Day. I started, I mean, I don't think I ever totally got away from meat. If we were out to dinner, I'd have a fish fry or something like that, even though, so I was probably, Carrie was 100% whole food plant-based. I was probably, I don't know, 90% or something, but I started to slip a little back. Summer barbecues, bratwurst, hamburgers, things like that. And I actually started gaining some weight. So from Memorial Day, that would have been 2021, until November, I had gained about 25 pounds. And I ended up in the hospital with pancreatitis and gallstones. And so I called my doctor and explained what had happened. And he said, well, plant-based people don't have gallstones. They will eventually dissolve. So if you get back on the wagon, you'll be fine. So through that process, and I had a couple of hospital episodes during that where they wanted to take my gallbladder out. We just didn't feel comfortable because it's a working organ. Why would we take out something that's working, even though I had the stones? So we felt if they're going to dissolve or something like that, I'll just get back to eating cleanly. And so there were a couple of episodes that we had of this intense pain and so forth. But through that process, I remembered that my doctor had recommended you as a resource. And so I looked up your website because I felt like I needed more than I was doing. And I still had cravings. And so like that was early November when I became apparent that I couldn't have turkey for Thanksgiving, I was angry. And when I couldn't have ham for Christmas, I was angry. And I couldn't have ham for Easter, I was angry. I found that a lot of my eating is emotional, especially holidays and things. And so I remembered that my doctor had recommended you as a resource. And so I looked up your website. And one of the things on your website it said is the only cravings you have anymore are for plant-based foods. And I don't know if you remember or not, when I first called to talk to you about this, I said, if you can do that for me, you're worth your weight in gold, because I craved. And I think through the process of Plant You, the education that I observed and gained, something clicked, and my cravings started to go away, and really they're gone now. I really, every once in a while I'll think, in fact, I said to Carrie the other day, isn't there like a healthy beef where like once in a blue moon I can have a very, very small steak or something like that? And because of my gallstones and so forth, I wouldn't do this for over a year. I think I need to let my body rest and cleanse. But I don't know. I'll see where I feel a year from now. But through that course, I really lost my cravings. One of the books you recommended to me was The Pleasure Trap. And I read that book cover to cover, and I learned a lot through that book. And I think that was instrumental in me getting over the craving hump.
Great. Yay. Yes. Awesome.
Which one? Oh, how
Yes.
it was, oh boy. I enjoyed sharing. Just like the camaraderie of the group, people sharing. There are people from all different stages in their journey. You know, it's fun to hear their stories and struggles and victories, and it was just real encouraging. I felt like.
Yep. It was the weekly coaching calls. So that's the group that gets together, and we share our successes and what we're working on, and it's all personalized, right? Where everybody has their own goals and things that they're working on, and there's no judgment, right? So that was really good too. No judgment.
A lot of encouragement.
Yeah. Yep. And I think, and Carrie, you were so good about sharing recipes. And I think that's the other fun part of the group sharing is just like, all right, what'd you make this week? What did you make this week? And then we would share the recipes and talk about that a little bit as well too. Yep. Okay, cool. Yeah. And the topics, I cover a lot of different topics. Each week was a different topic. So hopefully you never felt bored or anything, you know, it's like I change it up. And then Roger, like you said, you just mentioned the book that I recommended. I definitely talk a lot about different books, and I think we did a book club, right? I do try to do a book club each course, each course as well. So What's Missing from Medicine is the book that we did as a book club.
And then this is the one that you recommended to me because of my cravings.
Yes.
And it really helped. And for somebody who doesn't want to read the book, there are YouTube videos of Dr. McDougall and Dr. Lyle, or Douglas Lyle, that you can watch where they kind of give a brief. It's a TED talk about this. So it's very interesting, very intriguing.
Awesome. Yes. Okay. So any more that you guys want to talk about now with results that you have had since going plant-based and doing the course? Did you re-lose your weight again, Roger? I feel like you did, right? Yes,
I did. I'm back down again. The 25 pounds. One of the things that 5 pounds I had gained is now gone. In fact, I was looking back. I found a picture from a few years ago. I don't know if you can see this.
Yes. But wow.
Little bit of a rotund difference.
Wow. Yes.
I still have a ways to go. So this fall, I want to do another 7-day fast. And my goal over the winter, I was talking to my sister. My sister lives in Florida. I was talking to her today, and I said, I really want to lose another 25 pounds this winter and get back on the routine. Summer is just kind of, we live on a lake. It's just kind of activities, and I've been eating well, but not doing the exercises that I should be doing and stuff. So we get back into a routine again this fall.
Yes. All right. Okay. So now if you guys could, you've kind of shared, I think, a little bit, but share more about what are some examples of what you're eating now.
Well, in the morning, we usually have a glass of lemon water. It's supposed to be a good liver cleanser. And then I juice celery too. I do a glass of celery juice.
Okay.
It's really helped my skin and my just digestion and everything, which I never had problems, but it changed. It got better. So
okay.
And then for breakfast, we usually just have fruit, a big fruit bowl, and then sometimes after that we'll make like waffles or millet or some kind of a grain.
Buckwheat waffles.
Buckwheat waffles. Yep.
And
whole
then,
food plant-based waffles.
Yes.
No eggs, no butter.
No eggs. Nope.
Real maple syrup.
Yeah, and he's really gotten used to that, because at first it was pretty much of a, this is okay, but it's not waffles. But now I think it's become normal.
The other thing that's changed is now when we're doing this video is mid-August, and corn on the cob has become popular and available. And I have not been putting butter on it this year, which is a
Yeah,
huge
you've
huge
always-
change.
yeah,
I've always,
that's
you know, even when we were eating Whole Foods, I put butter on corn, and I haven't been doing that, and I don't miss it. It's good.
Okay.
Corn is
Good.
delicious.
Yes, yes.
And then our lunches usually are a soup or a salad, and or Roger likes sweet potato flatbread and with hummus
And sprouts.
and sprouts. But sprouts are hard to grow right now. The humidity is just not working for me.
Okay.
So I stopped that for now.
Sometimes I'll put lettuce on it instead.
Mhm. And you know,
Dinner, a lot of stir fries. Today we had just varieties of vegetables, and I'll put in a little coconut aminos over the stir fry, or a jasmine stir fry sauce, not jasmine, but teriyaki stir fry sauce. A little bit of that, and serve that over rice, as I said, especially jasmine rice, and happy as a clam.
mhm.
Um,
One thing we like is this sloppy Joe thing that I got from this book.
Yeah.
And it's also in, well, I probably
Yeah.
shouldn't. And we like that with butterhead lettuce. I don't know.
Yes,
with the
okay,
butterhead lettuce and
yes.
rolling it up, it's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
And I tried it once with romaine, didn't work so well, it got
Oh,
soggy. And,
yeah, yeah.
um,
Okay.
So, you know, we'll do some of the like bean dishes, or I made
Sometimes we'll make burritos,
yeah.
Yeah.
and that's a comfort food for me. We just don't use any ground beef in it. We do the beans, and we found that we'll put mushrooms in with the beans, with the pinto beans, put mushrooms in, and rice for texture, like brown rice. And it's just more than beans, and it's very satisfying. We had a group of people over a couple of weeks ago, and we served a buffet of burritos, and
Okay.
there was no meat in it. Nobody complained.
No.
Nobody said a word. In fact, last year we did the same thing with this group of people, and last year we had 2 pots, one with ground beef and one plain without.
Oh, yeah.
And it seemed like a lot of the people ate the plain ones. There
Yeah,
was a
we
lot of
had
ground beef
tons of
stuff
the
left
other
over.
leftover.
This year we
Mm,
just didn't serve it at all, and nobody said a word.
wow. Yay. That's great. That's great.
So, I know we
Uh,
like potatoes a lot, and you know,
I've-
it's pretty, our meals are pretty simple.
We haven't done
really.
it much this summer, but like over the winter, we would do baked potatoes. But then I make a brown gravy without meat, and it's, I don't know, like a bouillon,
It's a
use bouillon,
gravy,
mushroom,
right?
lots of mushrooms, and a little bit of cornstarch to thicken it.
Yeah.
And it's a real comfort thing, and it tastes just like beef gravy to me. But
Yeah.
it's all vegetable base.
Yeah.
I guess that is another thing I've learned, is the difference between us that I have to be conscious of with his eating is real emotional, and I don't really have that. And
Yeah.
so, you know, like he talks about the comfort foods. I don't, unless I'm deceiving myself, I don't think I have that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Carrie,
Yeah.
I just,
I live to eat, Carrie eats to live. So
Eats to live.
I'm trying to learn that, but I think
Yeah.
I'm getting better at
doing
it.
good.
Yep. 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 All right. And we're kind of on the topic here. What would you take to a summer cookout? Or now when the weather does change again, what might you take to a friend's house? Is there a recipe that you would like?
Well, a friend, for fall, I'd probably do like a chili of some kind.
Okay. Yep.
Some kind of a bean chili, or I have this heirloom bean mix with a whole bunch of different colors in there that makes a really nice looking chili. The summer cookouts, I have to say, it's just a struggle for me.
Okay.
I think I lack the confidence and wondering what people are gonna think and feel judged, and I haven't really found anything that I don't know.
We
The
were
winner.
a couple of
Yeah.
weeks ago, there was an impromptu group of neighbors that were getting together. We were invited, and the one guy said, we've got salmon we're cooking. Other guy said, we've got steak we can bring. And we said, well, we can bring vegetables. And so we took a big stir fry over. We took our kettle over and stir fry, and we mixed rice in with it, I think.
Yeah.
So there was rice in there right away
And
instead
they
of a
took
separate.
fruit salad.
And a
too.
fruit salad, and we ate the vegetables and the
There
fruit.
you go.
They ate their fish and,
Well, they ate the vegetables.
oh,
too.
yeah, yeah.
And they said
Very
they were
good.
really good, so.
That's great. That's great. Yes. Okay. And what would you say now? I sometimes use the phrase never looking back, and I definitely get the vibe, Roger, that you are never looking back. And going back to your old habits, I should say. So why, I guess, and tell me if you do have that mentality and why you do have that mentality.
I do have it because of what I've learned, the education. I really believe this is a healthier way to eat, even though there's part of me, like I said, I just said to Carrie the other day, isn't there like a healthy beef out there if we find from a local farmer or whatever? So I think, there's still a desire within me, but to go back to the way I was eating, all the oils. I actually went out to breakfast. I meet a group of guys for breakfast a couple times a month, and we call ourselves the Romeos, retired old men eating out. And so we meet at a restaurant, and they get their eggs and bacon and patty beef, pork sausage patties and whatever. And so what I order is a double order of American fried potatoes with
Yep.
mushrooms and green peppers and onions. And that's very satisfying. But I have to remember, I said to Carrie again, what I forget to tell them is light oil or no oil, because they're a little greasy even. So I'm even sensitive to the oil in there. And it's just, I need to ask them to use less. But no, I don't think I'll go back. I feel good. What I've learned, and education wise, I believe this is a healthier way to eat. I think most people know it's a healthier way to eat. But so many people say, well, I can't do that. And I say, well, I always correct their English. So it's not that you can't, you won't. And that's okay, but just don't lie to yourself. I've talked to so many people, I could never do. Yes, you can. You're not ready to, or you don't have the will to. Instead of saying I can't, say you won't. That you take control of your language that way. And the power is within you. If you say I won't, okay, I accept that. We went out to lunch the other day with some people, and we found a restaurant that has an incredible sweet potato burger that I like, and Carrie has what was it called?
The
Fajita veggie bowl or
Yeah.
something like that. And they said, well, don't judge us for what we're about to order. It's like, we don't judge people for what they're doing, but this is clearly a healthier way to eat. My blood pressure is down, my cholesterol is down, my energy is up. Doing some walking, riding a bike. I haven't ridden for 20 years. All my friends are getting electric bikes. I'm like, no, I don't think so. I'm not ready for that yet. So I don't anticipate ever going back, although I do kind of sometimes wonder whether I could have a little bit of steak. They always say a serving of meat is the size of a deck of cards. And I used to say, like, who eats that? But now I think, well, I would even be happy with less than a deck of cards, just a taste. And maybe it wouldn't be fulfilling anymore, but no, I'm not going to go back to a full scale.
Yeah.
This is the first thing I've really found that I'm losing weight and continuing to lose weight and feel good as a result, and got some good comments. I've gotten rid of all my double X shirts. I'm down to XLs now, so feel good about that. My waist, I keep getting new pants every few months. My waist is going down, so.
What would I say
About never looking back?
Oh, yeah. 3 things that I had, and then when we started eating this way, disappeared, was brain fog And I mean, I can remember sitting at a restaurant with a friend and talking several times during the dinner and blanking out, like, what was I even thinking or saying? And my mom's in her 90s, but you know, so she's had a good life, but has now dementia and things. And I never even told Roger about it, but I was starting to get kind of nervous. Like, is this an early onset of something? And then I noticed when I'd walk up hills and things, my legs just felt like they were 50 pounds on the bottom, like I was lugging up these things. And I thought, oh, that's really strange. And then the third thing was my heart every now and then was racing. I could, you know, and
That was only when she was around me.
Yes,
and,
yes.
All three of those things disappeared in short order, because I remember specifically the brain thing, because I went to dinner with the same friend a month later. And I remember sitting there talking and thinking back to the month before, going, well, I'm just having a conversation and not losing it here.
Wow.
And then and my legs, they got better, and my heart never races anymore. So from those three things, I don't know. I mean, I never went to get a doctor opinion or anything. But I would guess I was leading to something. And
Yeah.
so no, I don't want to go back to that, because I enjoy what I have now. So.
Very good. Very good. Thank you for sharing that. And then we'll wrap up here now with if you guys give some advice, if you have some advice to people new to this. So what would be a couple little words of wisdom?
Well, I would say to watch the videos that we were. There's tons of them out there now. We've found different videos and things, but
so the Forks Over Knives and Game Changers were the two
right.
you mentioned, right?
Right. And then the other one was the Code Blue.
Code Blue.
Code Blue was really good. But you know, you can try it one meal at a time. So you don't have to go all in like we did. But I would say it's, you know, what eating like this, and also, you know, and getting involved in Plant U, there's a cost obviously involved financially, but it's worth it. Joy is always so encouraging and positive, and you'll hear other people's struggles and other people's accomplishments, and celebrate together. And I think sometimes, especially guys, we think, well, I know how to eat. I'll just do it myself. But then those barbecues come up and things like that, and we get trapped. And I've learned one of the things from the pleasure trap was the myth of moderation.
Mm-hmm.
And so most of us think, well, I could just do a little of this and a little of that, and the moderation thing is really a myth, because one birthday party leads into a barbecue, leads into Easter and Christmas, and another barbecue and a fish fry this Friday, and all of a sudden you're eating badly several times or a couple times a week or whatever. It was interesting when I had that pancreatitis. I was laying in my hospital bed, and I got a call from two friends of mine. Hey, I hear you're in the hospital. What's going on? And I explained what was going on, and they're like, so are you never going to eat meat again? And I said, no, I don't think so. And they're like, well, like if you eat good all week, but then like on the weekends, could you have a brat, or could you have a cheeseburger or something? And I said, I'm laying in a hospital bed, and like if I was in here for lung cancer, would you say, hey, during the week, don't smoke your cigarettes, but on the weekend have a pack? If I was an alcoholic, would you say, well, don't drink all week, but on the weekends have a beer or two? You know, one of the books, I don't know where we picked this up, but the idea of putting water in your gas tank. We know that you would never put water in your gas tank, even in moderation. So why would we do that? Why would we do that with the food that we eat?
Yeah.
So it's just,
Yeah.
so that kind of eliminates the idea that I had about finding a healthier beef or something for an occasional steak, because why would I do that to myself? But
Yeah.
so I would say to people, don't be a lone ranger, jump in and get some help, because it helped me.
Yeah. Yep. There's lots of ways to get support. Yep. And Plant
Yeah.
U's one of them. Yep. What else, Carrie? Do you want to
I
add
would
anything?
say to enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
And just keep on learning and, having fun exploring new things. It's
Right. Yeah. And because I like what you said earlier
be a
too.
role model for people.
Mhm.
We can also, people are looking for answers. Sometimes they don't want to hear the answers, but people are struggling.
Mhm. Yeah.
Being a role model, and you never know when they might say, hey, I need help.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Plant U, I agree with Roger that Plant U was really helpful.
Yeah.
And I said I wouldn't mind taking it again, going through it again.
Yeah.
It was just fun to be with people
Yes.
like-minded.
Yes.
And
Yes.
striving towards the same thing, no matter what stages they're at in it. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
enjoyable.
Yeah.
So we'll need a graduate course.
So we'll need, yes, Plant U number 2, Plant U.
102, we went through 101, so now we'll go through 102.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. All right. I think that's it. Do you guys have any other closing little comments here? I think that's it though. So thank you so much. Thank you. And I'm so happy for all your success and that you're feeling better and that you had so much relief from your symptoms and you never needed surgery and you got off some medications, and Carrie, you're feeling better too. So I'm super excited, and I know that you will inspire other people. So I'm very happy. And again, thank you so much for interviewing. And yeah, so we will be in touch. All right.
Thank you for your positive energy and all the encouragement and motivation and helping me